So I finally say, you know what? If I can't do this business and if I can't be honest and clear about it, then this is not for me. So I started with one client, one group of girls and guys came in to speak with me, and about a week or two later, and I said, "So, Rock, how did you start the business? How did you do all this?" And I took a breath and I was like, "Well, let me tell you the real story." And that was kind of the first time I actually gave like the real story right there. And when I finished, and it was only maybe a 5 or 10 minute talk, like I kind of gave them the overviews of it. They were just like, "What? Like, wow! Like, thank you for sharing that. That's so inspirational, motivational." And from there, I was like, you know what? That's all the push I needed. That I'm not saying anything else ever again about this story. I'm going to tell the truth just like it was. And the people that for some reason don't want to look down on me, that's okay. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions. They don't have to work with me. But I'm going to tell my truth. I'm going to tell my story. And I'm going to put it out there. And that was the first time.
So I'm just going to put the linear pieces of this business together for myself. And you tell me if I've got it right. Okay. You're in prison, another kind of prison, this time official prison. You're writing journals. You're all of a sudden, you wrote a business plan?
So we had a cell phone that would sneak in, and we'd have to sit underneath the bunk beds and hide ourselves with towels and have people watch out for the correctional officers. And we would call like my bunkmates' sisters and his cousins and ask them like, "Hey, tell us about this and this business, and tell us about the pricing and the market and what people want, what people don't want." And that's how I made the business plan. I still have that piece of paper. It's going in my book actually.
Well, yeah, no kidding. Okay, so this is the I'm going to have a life when I get out of here. And you had to sneak to do that. That's going to be a whole nother conversation for somebody else's show, because I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But you're in a place where on the surface, where it's supposed to help you get prepared to re-enter society. And yet in reality, you were having to be very sneaky about getting ready to have a life outside of that environment.
Yeah. And once again, I mean, as we know, the recidivism rates in the US are above 80%. Like those places are not geared to re-enter anybody in society. They're geared to bring you back actually. And I was, blessed that I didn't fall back into it and go back.
Well, as a business model, having repeat business is a good plan. However, for a prison system, it's just like for an addiction system, having repeat business is actually failure of the organization. And I say that with all due respect for all of these programs that are doing their best, because there are some out there that really are geared to not have you come back. But this was not one of those. So you snuck and got enough information that you could write a one-page business plan. And now you're living that business plan. That is such an incredible story. I mean, I'm thinking about the book, Robert Fulghum's book, Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is yours, Rocky. Everything I needed to know about business I learned in prison. Yeah, I mean, under the bunk bed stories could be a great, I'm like going, oh my God, how many of us did things that we snuck around and got information, but most of us were not putting really almost our lives on the line to do it, which is what it feels like to me, just listening to your story, that the reality of what would have happened to you if you had gotten caught.
It would have been a lot more time. And I mean, Alabama state prisons are notorious for beating inmates close to death and actually killing them. So it was definitely a life on the line situation for sure.
Yeah, this is just a little aside that we kind of got to, and I'm really glad that I asked and that you were willing to share that. I have a great deal of respect for people who are willing to stand up and tell their story. And you have been doing that for several years now. I'm just curious, because there was a lot of trepidation around what will other people think and what will this do to my business? I'll lose clients. I heard you say that. And I'm like, all right, Rocky, what's happened to your business because you're willing to speak your truth?
Literally 10x from the time I told you about sitting in that showroom in downtown to where I'm sitting right now, actually 10x, finance-wise, team-wise, freedom-wise, just business and traffic-wise, everything. It all came together, and people versus being scared of me or looking down upon me just respected the fact and loved the fact that here's an honest, transparent person that's actually doing good business, and we trust him now to handle our money, to handle our business, because that's just what I resonate with, and that's what I put out there, and that I received that back as well. So
Okay, so do you have two divisions of your business, one with the hair extensions and one with consulting other businesses?
well, I've started a lot more since then. So I've started a hair class as well, and then with consulting, I basically do strategy calls. But my business is centered around helping people while we sell to them. Because if we sell to them and they don't know what to do with the product, they don't understand how to talk about it, then they're not going to do very well. And if they don't do well, then we don't continue. So like it's in our best interest to make sure they have the knowledge and the information and the guidance, which is at the end of the day, the guidance ends up being like me and my knowledge and me being there, because I love being motivated, and I think, I don't know who said it, but I think it was in Latin or something. To inspire others, you need to be inspired yourself. I love getting inspired and pulling inspiration, because then I'm able to help others and inspire them. With my team in the mornings, I try to send them every morning a YouTube video that I listen to that touch my heart and say, good morning, I'm grateful for this.